Thank you, Pawan. Having spent 40 years in essentially what is creating an ecosystem for grassroots innovations, I would share both few successes but many failures. And the successes are that Srishti set up in 93, Gyan set up in 97, and I have National Innovation Foundation set up in 2000. Each one of them have created benchmarks in their own field globally. And today we are the largest provider of open source content, largest provider of open source innovation content in the world, much larger than Wikipedia. And additional supplemental database. For example, we have 1 million abundant US patents in open access database at gyan.org. GIN. Open. Anybody can use them. They were very pieces of intellectual property. They were abundant. Now our small sector, our medium sector, scholars, students, professors, anywhere in the world can use the data. 1 million. Why do we do that? Because the fireflies of creativity are visible only in the darkness. When there is a light, they emit light even in the daytime, but we can't see them. That is the paradox. The grassroots innovations are visible in the places where large number of unmet needs have remained unmet for a very long period of time, whether in farm machinery, biomass, bioenterprises, mobility, whole range of areas. And the voice, visibility and velocity that we need to provide to these innovations through grassroots innovation, through Honeybee Network that we set up earlier, 35 years ago, has been a challenge. Some of you who are in Delhi or around would like to visit second People's Festival of Innovation at India ConferenceSolutions from November 29 to December 2nd. And on 30th November, we are getting innovations from Northeast and Jammu and Kashmir. And we are doing all of this without any sponsorship, through our own resources, through our own savings. I am mentioning this to highlight how big the challenge is. You talked about inclusivity. What can be more inclusive than a farmer or a mechanic or a roadside vendor trying to solve a problem of the last mile enterprise or economic activity of the country? There can be nothing more inclusive than that. And yet, it is so difficult. For example, let me mention one of the failure, the so-called venture debt or micro-venture finance. We have been completely failed in this mission to get risk capital. We all know what IT did, what biotechnology did. Because of risk capital, information technology revolution would not have taken place in this country, venture capital had not played a role. And yet, knowing this so fundamentally, we have not been able to mobilize sufficiently durable lines of credit, risk capital, which means you pay back if you succeed and you write off if you fail. It's an investment in the building of aspirations of our country where people solve problems through their own genius. And how important these are, in 98, 99, we filed patents in US, got them in 2003. What did we want to prove? We wanted to prove that a 10th failed person of our country can transcend the prior art of USA, the Mecca of innovation. They wouldn't get patents otherwise. 2003 we got 3 patents. By now the network and its institutions have filed more than 1,200 patents. Now there are 2 important factors that we have learned from this and I want to tell you. No IP attorney of the country and US charges us their time, fees. They all do pro bono. If I had to pay that, it would be 20, 30, 40 crore. Similarly, we have to validate these innovations before President of India will give award. No scientist charges for their time. Not one. What I'm trying to show is that there is an ecosystem where at least the IPR attorneys and the scientists have contributed their time and resources and knowledge without charging a penny for it, because they believe this is a cause which deserves support. And my purpose of coming today essentially is to find many more such volunteers who would like to engage with this talk. And Vijay, I was mentioning to him that they should come and spend time with us and see how innovations from all over the country need to be nurtured. I have walked 6,000 kilometers, every state from Andaman to Great Valley, every state of the country I have walked. Summer we go to hot places, winter we go to cold places, autumn I take my student to Himalaya. And there is not one place in the country where we have not found innovators. Not one place, not one yatra. Out of all the places, you will be surprised that in Bargar, in Odisha, that was the yatra where we found innovations every day. In Barpali region. So there are surprises of this kind. Andaman we found innovations. All over the country we are finding innovations. What is needed is a very strong handshake between the community of people present here, all of us on the dais, in the panel, in the auditorium, and those who you know, your social capital and ethical capital needs to be mobilized for these creative people who have solved problems to their own genius. And mind you, they are all champions of circular economy. Most of the innovators use second-hand parts. Who can be more champion of a circular economy than the grassroots innovators and the mechanics? In fact, if they what is called Sanedo, a motorcycle-based flying machine which is now made into a chassis, they use engine of Crompton, they use gearbox of Alto, or then they use differential of another car, then this van, and they assemble them together and integrate them, bring the RPM of engine from 3000 to 1200 so that you need torque for flying, not the speed. Good mechanical engineering, good science. But intuitively, but through their own experience without having gone to the college. If 1 week I was at IIT Hyderabad and then I was at IIT Bombay last 3 days, and I was telling them that if 1 week of an engineer, you mentioned about engineering, could be mobilized for contributing to this cause of blending formal and informal science, India would contribute not only for its own development, but contribute knowledge and innovation good for the whole world. So I would just say that there is a huge scope. I spent my time putting platinum polish on gold at IIT Ahmedabad. But I also spent time in putting gold, converting iron into gold. And I'm saying that making iron into gold is very exciting. Putting platinum on gold was not that difficult. They all came ready from IITs. Putting a little polish on that was not so difficult. But making iron into gold is really challenging. And I would engage and invite you all to engage with this process for getting the excitement of learning from these creative problem solvers. Thank you.
Thank you.